Hello, you're listening to Overwhelm is Optional. It's time to take overwhelm much more seriously. So yes, I'm going to kick you a little bit in this episode, and I hope you're ready for it. I'm known for my gentle but firm kicks, so let's do this. So while you're stuck in overwhelm, you're making mistakes that are costing you and other people. You might not be aware of them because you don't want to make them. You're doing your absolute best. You're working really, really hard. You're exhausting yourself not to make mistakes. You're doing your absolute best to hold everything together, but you're still going to make mistakes. I mean, we make mistakes anyway because we're human, but when we're overwhelmed, we make really costly mistakes that we're not always aware of the consequences. So, you know, in a business, this is a disaster. If I think of all the people who have done work on my house or sold me stuff that's a bit rubbish, and I think, well, they were probably just trying to get through their day as well. And this is not a good state for us to be in as humans. It's also completely unnecessary. So we haven't evolved, our nervous system hasn't evolved to remain in this high alert state, this foggy thinking, this like, just do this, just do this, just do this. It's really bad for us. And it leads to this chronic state of high alert where you're always on the edge of just about getting through, which is not only miserable, not much fun, but it's also really bad for your health, which I'm sure you know, because it's harder to switch off, it's harder to sleep, it leads to exhaustion and constant energy depletion. It's harder to control your focus and really get the things done that you want to get done. So then you've got this horrible frustration and stuck feeling of like, why does this keep happening to me? And also keeping your nervous system in that high alert state repeatedly, you know, just about getting through, kind of like this emergency alarms going on all the time, is really bad for you. As I'm sure you're aware, chronic stress leads to a lot of the modern diseases. So it's really important that you take overwhelm more seriously. So there's your health, there's your life and the misery of being stuck in overwhelm. But it's also just completely unnecessary. So it's this huge waste. So my dream for you is that you get out of overwhelm and then you look back and go, oh man, what was I doing? So, and that you're able to do that with self-acceptance, forgiveness, and learn from it and move on. But it's just so damn unnecessary. But the thing is, it takes courage. It takes courage to say, okay, so I'm just about getting through and I'm juggling loads and loads of things and I'm overwhelmed. Right, first of all, notice the overwhelm. Notice that. The reason that this podcast is dedicated to overwhelm is I see that as the key, because you have so much more than you realise. You are so much more than you realise. But because the mind is easily distracted and overwhelmed, you can't see it. And it's such a waste and it's so unnecessary. So take it seriously. Look at how overwhelmed you feel. And instead of going, oh my God, I'm too overwhelmed to do anything about it. No, just start with the overwhelm. It will make sense. It's just hard because it's not something we're taught to do. We're not taught how our minds work. We're not taught how to help ourselves. But you know what? It's not just me saying this stuff. There is so much help available. There are so many of us saying essentially the same thing, but in our own very unique way, coming from our journey, experience, qualifications, etc. So find someone, if it's not me, find someone who's going to help you and do something about it. Take it seriously. So if you're with me on the yes, I need to do something about the overwhelm, then be warned, it takes courage, because the thing with overwhelm is it stops you seeing everything. So there are limitless opportunities, different ways, easier ways of coping with whatever you've got on your plate at the moment. But also when you come out of overwhelm, it takes courage, because then you're going to have to face up to the things that you've messed up on, or the opportunities missed that you can now see. And that takes courage, but it's okay, because there's so many of us who have got your back and will help you. But I'm just warning you that it takes courage, because I don't actually think that it's just a case of, oh, our human brains get really easily overwhelmed, we ought to do something about it, here's an answer. I think I sometimes make it sound too simple. It is simple if you choose it to be, but it still takes courage. It still takes guts. It still takes determination, commitment. It's not an overnight thing. I can get you out of overwhelm by doing a neutral noticing practice with you, get you out of your head into your body within a minute. And that's really powerful. And a lot of people use my 1 minute mark, is what it's now called, to do that. But unless you then do something with that, it's a temporary fix. So it's like for that 1 minute you're out of overwhelm and then you feel better. But you need to commit to doing something about it consistently. But when you're really overwhelmed, that's hard. Of course it's hard. So that's why I provide solutions that fit into your life and support you while you're getting out of overwhelm. So that's why my audios are very, very short, especially the 1 minute mark, which you have 1 minute. Definitely you have 1 minute. And I've been giving that away for free for a long time. If you haven't got it yet, go and get it. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'll put it in the show notes again. Get hold of it. Start using it. You know, start empowering yourself. Start noticing that actually you do have more control. And I think that's the thing that's important to me is you can do something about this for yourself. But it takes effort, as in it takes determination. It doesn't take a lot of time or energy. You have to show up for yourself every day though. So you can't just do the 1 minute once and go, well, that was amazing, I loved that, and then forget about it. You're going to have to schedule it. You're going to have to use every tool, every trick there is. Find an accountability partner. Say, right, we're going to do this for a week together. You know, just do whatever you can to get out of overwhelm. Take it seriously. Because do you know what? On the other side of overwhelm is you. And you are amazing. You have so much more to give, to receive, to enjoy. You have so much more living to do. And we need you to get out of overwhelm because we need each other. And it's really sad when we get stuck in overwhelm and we get stuck in survival mode and we feel like we're getting through, but only just. It's such a painful, frustrating place to be, and it's unnecessary. There are very, very few times in our lives in the West when we need to be stuck in absolute emergency, even during a pandemic. Most of the time, most of the moments in our day aren't actually emergencies. So it's a bit like when my children were small, I read some advice dealing with toddlers. So if you have toddlers and you're struggling at home, you know what it's like. So you could spend all day saying no to a toddler because let's face it, they push the boundaries. But the thing I read said, be really careful with using the word no. So only use it for emergencies. So for me, that was any danger. That was roads and hot things like the oven. No. Sharp knives. No. Running into the road. No. But being annoying or not doing some pace, not picking toys up, you know, that yes, it's annoying, but it's not an emergency. So if you think about your nervous system in the same way, allowing it, just noticing when it's in this highly reactive state, that's designed for saving your life. So if there was a bear around the corner, your nervous system is supposed to go, sign the alarm and get you running, whatever you're supposed to do, whatever the current bear advice is. But we get easily triggered in our daily life because of how our minds work and how the world is set up with our notifications on our phone. So if your notification on your phone are probably setting off your high alert system as if it was a bear. So switch your notifications off. Control the bears. Seriously, get some control back. You can do some very simple things. I have given away lots of ideas, inspiration, tips and tricks. You can go back through. We're on episode 46 now. There is a wealth of information there. I've given away lots of neutral noticing practices within the podcast to help you get out of your head into your body and just start resetting your nervous system, start realizing you can get back control. I've also interviewed some incredible people who've been really, really generous with their time. They've offered tips. We've given you links to resources. There is so much more you can do. So take a step. I want you to dedicate yourself to getting yourself out of overwhelm so you can get your life back, so you can move out of survival mode, emergency threat mode, and start healing and getting your life back and living again, and remembering that you are so much more than somebody who can get through, who has to push their way through. If you're pushing, striving all the time, beating yourself up, I ought to be better at this, why can't I cope, comparing yourself to other people, drop that, be on your own side, get out of overwhelm, and you will re-find those bits of yourself that have got lost as you have weaved your way successfully through your life. Because we're not taught this stuff, and it's time we were taught it. It's time we embrace the fact that we know far more about the human brain and mind and how it works. And you can get overwhelmed by all the help and information out there, or you can get out of your head into your body within 1 minute and start to take back some control. So, what are you going to do? It's your choice. It's your life. Choose you. Get out of overwhelm now.